And here we go. And we are being live streamed. Hello.
Oh,
Hello, everybody.
hello.
Welcome to Lives on Astrology. This is our energy update. And I wanted to invite you into this explorative energy update for December with my really great friend, sister, tribe sister, Lissa Finelli from HeartShine Healing. Lissa is an energy healer. She is an astrologer. She focuses on sound healing, massage therapy, and astrology. She also does crystal grids and so much more. And I just really wanted to thank Lissa for being here in this now time moment. Thank you, Lissa, for
Thank
joining
you.
in to this
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you, Carm. So great to be here. Always love our conversations, and goodness knows we have so many, even when the live isn't on. So it's so great to share our worlds, our words and worlds with everyone. So great to be here, and thank you so much for having me and asking me to do this. It's great. Thank you.
Well, it's so interesting. We were having this really potent conversation today, and I was actually called to write down some concepts that we were talking about, which after looking at the astrology, Mercury just went into Capricorn. So we know that Mercury is the mind, it's words, it's communication. And within Capricorn, it's about anchoring structure, bringing it down to form, right? So I wanted to read over some of the concepts that we were speaking on earlier because the energy is moving so quickly these days, and I don't know how you guys are feeling it. Maybe you guys can share in the comments below how these energies are affecting you, what it's feeling like in your body, your dream state, what you're drawn to. And Lissa, I know you've been drawn working with certain clients that are experiencing certain things, and you've actually been watching certain movies and had certain activations about past lives. And so this is what we really want to focus on, and just whatever wants to come up in conversation today. So if you guys are connecting to any of these concepts, please, check the comments below, write down how are these energies feeling for you. But Lissa, some of the things that we were talking about, which really stuck out, which I kind of captured in the moment, again, it's really good during this time if you can write these things down because everything is happening pretty exponentially. We're talking about past lives in review. We were talking about signature blueprint and thread embedded throughout timelines. So we're like timeline surfing right now and going into no time. We also talked about the North Node in Aries and repurposing past lives. So, Lissa, I just wanted to give you the floor right now about how you're experiencing these energies, these current energies for December, and what you've been experiencing in relation to past lives, but how it's relating to the now time and the frequencies that we might all be experiencing.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Um, how I've been noticing a lot of the past life, I just in tune to energy in general. So for my practice, it's to identify trends and cycles and repetitive energies that are coming through. And what I've been noticing are these subtle synchronicities that are just so blatantly obvious. And so this past week, whatever I've been drawn to, and I've read to, when they talk about past lives, it's anything that you resonate with or really strongly, or something that sparks your curiosity or inspiration. That's almost like a remembrance of something that you already know. There's a familiarity about it. So whether it be the Egyptian culture, and like I was drawn to grab my Blue Lotus essential oil right now. So that's like coming in really strong, and watching things on Egypt, or anything that you find that are coming up in your awareness or coming up within your environment. It's there for a reason. It's there for you to kind of tune into. So this past week I watched every everything everywhere all at once, and oh my goodness, it was just like mind-blowing, activating, because it talks about being multidimensional, how consciousness is everywhere, is everything, and we as beings are having this multidimensional experience. And it was great because how they did it was action, it was comedy, so there was laughter, and like it's a must see if you're interested. But and then the other night I also watched, I was drawn to watch Dolores Cannon, and about transformation. And Dolores Cannon, if you know who Dolores is, she was a hypnotist and worked on past life regression, and she talked about all the information coming through her clients. So that was another, I guess, nodal point of past life energy that keeps coming into my awareness this week. And also I had some clients, and when I was working on a client, sometimes I'll get one past life, or I'll focus on one, maybe two. But this session I saw all her past, like about 6 past lives, and how they related to what she was trying to heal within herself and get clarity around. And that being, as an example, it was a abandonment. So, and what was that? What does that mean? Like, how come she can't get through this feeling? But with past life regression, you're everything. So I ended up seeing where she abandoned someone else in another life as someone, as a male. So, working through that feeling or emotion, of seeing things from another perspective, and how can we neutralize that and forgive ourselves for that. So it was a thread to another lifetime that is existing all at once, because consciousness is always evolving, and it's always in movement and speeding up and slowing down. But if you pay attention to it, there are these gems that can really give you insight into what you're doing here at this now moment. So as I'm kind of reflecting back on, okay, well, past life keeps coming up for me. It's coming up. What do I need to look at? What are my gifts? What is my consciousness connected to that wants to come through? And how is my soul evolving, and how is my consciousness evolving with it? So with that, I find that, especially now where I'm at, I've had a grateful to have so many experiences and have the awareness, but I could also feel this specific feeling within myself of expanding and wanting to know more. What am I capable of doing now? Like, what are these gifts that are just waiting just to be shared or to be experienced, and to really grow with? And that's, I think, my natural curiosity of doing something new, expanding my own self. Like, can I do this? Like, not challenging myself, but really the curiosity of how my knowledge base or skill sets can expand when I push past the fear and just get out of my own way and just do it, try it, just, and that's how I get to learn about myself, what I like, what I don't like, what I'm good at, what I could probably use more practice at, but just following the energy and being very much present with it. So that's kind of how I've used, and of course the astrology with I just look at the astrology too, like, where is that showing up in our chart, in my chart? What is the energy right now? The sun is in Sagittarius, so that's also shining a light on higher wisdom and expansion. And so I know, oh, okay, the consciousness and working with the planets in my consciousness, planetary consciousness, all of it starting to expand. So well, yes.
Let me ask a question here too, because I wanted to go into, we had talked about, past lives in relation to what's happening in the now. Mm-hmm. So there's certain fields, when we talk about quantum energy, anything that's ever happened, that will happen, that has happened, it's happening in this Akashic field, right? This field of energy. And what the download that I received is kind of, see this shell here? It's kind of like nature, how it comes back into itself. It just keeps spiraling and spiraling and spiraling, yet it comes back to center point. And so that's how I kind of see the energy. It's in past lives, that if there's past lives that are showing up for you, it's how is that past life affecting you in this now time moment? What came back to repeat, recycle, re-rinse? And then what I loved, how we talked about, how do we repurpose the energy in a new, more loving, more impactful way with what we know now, what we have assimilated in this now lifetime. And I love that you're talking about staying in that state of curiosity, because I think that's also the North Node in Aries, which is all of us now as a collective are experiencing the North Node. And in astrology, North Node is what we've come to learn and the skill sets we've come to embody. And South Node is the past, right? So maybe we've come to embody the energy of curiosity, of staying in the medicine of bravery. Because to me, I feel bravery is a medicine. It's a tool. It's an alchemic tool that we can use to help us where maybe we had trauma in past lives, if you will, but that past life trauma is showing up in the now, either in the body, in our relationships, in our jobs, to show us like where we're recycling, just like the shell, right? Where has it come back up again for us to spiral around so that we can look at it and evolve in a new way. And so that's what really, to me, astrology and energy work and just studying these concepts, these quantum energy concepts, really allow for us to have a more harmonious experience of this now time reality. And so going back into now, we talked about the signature blueprint. How do you see the signature blueprint? And we also talked about the Druvian man,
Yeah.
and right, Da Vinci, and then how you can regrid it. So I know you work with grids and crystal grids. What was your download about that, working with crystals and maybe regridding the frequency through the body?
Um, how I, what we were talking about earlier is it seems to me that if what I was getting is that we are all consciousness. So if we have consciousness in different archetypes or suits or experiences, wherever that is. And sometimes I think I was telling you with dream times, like, I wonder what I'm doing in another realm. You know, what am I doing now? But it makes you, for me, it made me think of, well, what I'm doing now, you know, I was probably everything everywhere all at once, right? So I'll use that movie title. But at the same time, there is this original blueprint, that unique blueprint that we were created from as a soul from source, that kind of flows through these different archetypes and experiences and versions of ourself consciousness, whatever, with that, you know, rock, a bird, a flower, or, you know, but there always seems to be a learning moment, but there's still that core essence. And I guess right now, if I think about it, right now, it's now a moment, it's the core essence of our own creation, our own unique creative spark that's always connected to source, always there, but it's just unique. It's like a note. I think of like music. It's like the specific note that will carry throughout all of the different fractals of ourselves, or lines of threads of consciousness that links our lives together. Like, because we're always here on this journey, but it almost seems to me like there's this underlying familiarity or theme. For me, it was sound, and that's how it came in. This definitely within the last 2 days, as I was reflecting in meditation this morning on the week, and all right, what are these past lives telling me? Like, what am I supposed to be paying attention to? And there was a little bit, honestly, a little chaotic energy, because I think my human self here was like trying to figure it out, you know, and like rationalize it or something. And then all of a sudden I heard, just go play the gong. And then that's when I went and played the gong. And when I played the gong, I actually had my crystals, the crystal bowls as well. And I also had crystals. Those crystals are amplifiers. And they also hold the memory, right? So they hold the memory, the energetic memory of consciousness throughout Earth and any other consciousness that has been here, you know, humans, animals, plants, beings, other beings, light beings that vibrate that maybe we can't see. But so as I play the gong, which is also moving the energy and also holding on to the crystals as amplifiers to kind of move through and kind of harmonize and make the energy more cohesive so that I could sit and integrate it. Because after I played the gong, specifically, I was called to tone with the gong, and these sounds came out of my throat, and I heard a melody, and I just kept playing it. And that has been probably one of the gifts that I'm just now realizing that I have to share and kind of harness and really have experienced it, and let's surrender to it. Just kind of let it flow, and let the mind kind of step out of the way. Because I know after I did that, my whole body was tingling, and I was just like, okay, I gotta lay down now. So I just laid back on my massage table, and I was just like, ah. And then it was all that integration, and that's where I had all that insight, like, oh, see, that wasn't as bad as you thought it would be. Because originally when I was toning, my partner was downstairs and he was working out. And I think I told you, like, I don't want him to hear me. Like, that's the mind, like kind of closing down that creative force, that creative expression that wanted to come through me. But then but the heart went, no, just do it anyway. So that's where that bravery comes in, where, okay, just like the mind wants to fight it, it wants to resist, but it's just how we're made. We're made for this unique sound. And with sound, especially the voice, it has a specific blueprint all its own, a specific tone, a specific frequency and vibration that we each carry. And I think that is that theme that kind of comes through our consciousness, that unique, as an example, that unique sound. Because I know I don't sound like anyone else on this, in this whole creative expression of life. And that's what makes me unique. So when I start to realize and go, oh, that's me. Okay, and I'm here to share it. So I have a voice. I have, and if I let go of the judgment, then I could express. So when you asked me to do the live today, I was like, yes, absolutely. Or maybe I'd be like, maybe a little bit guarded not to share the authenticity of what wants to come through me because of the judgment of what are they going to think, all of that. But it's time to let that go. And that's the message that I came through. And that's from that past life energy that's coming in and saying, no, you've done this before. You've because it's here, you're doing it. You've done this before. So do it. Yeah. Do it now. Like, and I feel with the elevated consciousness that we're all in, I feel like that's where most of humanity is right now. It's like, been there, done that. I want to do something different. What else is in me? What else am I here to experience? What can I learn and grow with through the gifts, through the, hobbies or skill sets or whatever it is that you are drawn to or interested in. I encourage everyone, get out of your own way and just try it, because it is totally liberating, because that's where the energy is moved and you're more in flow and not really stagnant. I guess that's what I'm hearing.
It's interesting that you talked about how that thought came in when you started toning of, no, I don't want to be heard. Do you feel that energy was also maybe linked to a past life where you weren't heard or didn't allow yourself to be heard? And I don't know if this is too private of a past life, because we had talked about this, you remembering being a Delphi oracle at one point and having an experience. Do you think that maybe with the awareness that you have now, the bravery, that you could actually influence your past life and future lives based on the actions you take now?
Yes, definitely. I feel that as very, very much so. On all counts. So I feel like that's where, through our soul's learning and what we're here to experience, whether it be having that bravery and like being penalized for it, i.e., wiped out, and trauma, which you carry into the next life of, okay, well, oh, I don't want to do that because of the memory, the cellular memory, or cellular memory is what's coming in right now. But I feel like as now there is that bravery, or that it's more of the connection to source of knowing that I'm here to do that, to be authentic and express myself as authentic as I could be. Yes, I do believe that I am affecting that past life of being an oracle. And I would say right now, the more I do it, the more that changes. In other words, like the layers of the more confident I am. So the more I'm going to tone, whether it be for myself or in public, the more I'm impacting that past life, because it's dissolving away almost to the point where it goes back to source. I see it recycling right now. I don't know, like that thread is not as tight, but it's been learned. That lesson's been learned. It's been neutralized. You've seen both sides now. Well, I've seen where I was the fear of being an expression, to share my expression. And now that I am expressing myself, I've learned that lesson that I can express myself and feel safe.
It's coming in too really strong is perhaps maybe in past lives or future lives where we've been the victim or the perpetrator.
Mm.
And then it's almost like you have to be both. You have to fill both roles. And once you fill both roles of what it's like to be the victim and then what it's like to be the perpetrator, then you just neutralize that experience altogether. And you don't have to continue to recreate that experience until you integrate that, till you neutralize that, which I love that language, right? Neutrality. It's just being able to be in that center part of the brain where you see both. You see both where you've been all of it. But we've also right now in polarity consciousness, we're talking about these roles, these archetypes that we play in each other's lives. And we've set it up that way. That's the thing. It's like the people that come into our lives are maybe here to learn, okay, in this lifetime, we agreed I'm going to be the victim.
Yep.
You're going to be the perpetrator and so on and so forth. And when you can get to that space of, I really think I feel, and I think it's through forgiveness, through the frequency of acknowledgement, forgiveness. First of all, forgiving yourself for choosing it, and then forgiving the other. And then we talk about, I know a lot in the spiritual community, we talk about soul contracts and what that looks like. And so maybe we just contracted to play these parts so that we could find neutrality and then back to wholeness, back to source, back to resolving that abandonment, which all of us feel at one time or another. And that's a powerful connection point, especially in relation to past lives. So moving forward to the month of December, what do you feel and think that we can be doing or embodying or incorporating? I know one of the things that we talked about is let your embodiment embolden you.
Yeah.
So as become more embodied with these energies, and we become more emboldened with the energy of the North Node, right? Which is Aries, which is not warring against ourselves because that's Mars inverted, but it's actually protecting and showing up and being brave for the parts of us that are ready to express. How do you feel about that? What's coming up for December?
For me, what first comes to mind is always the inner child, right? So especially when I talk to my clients, and before we are going through the stages of getting more and more responsible through these lifetimes here on Earth. You were a child at one point where hopefully you had a chance to play or imagine and create, and that's where you had no fear, really brave, no judgment. You were just expressing yourself, freely. So I encourage, like, for example, for me, I love to sing. Music has been around me my whole life. So I want to sing more. Like, I just want to sing out loud more, just hum more, because it's something that I like to do. I feel good doing it. And I'm actually increasing my own vibration just by, humming, toning, connecting, and just staying within the note, staying within myself and being very anchored within my own being. And I think through that practice, I'm able to, once I connect with myself, okay, well, what is it that I really want? Like, and it doesn't have to be the next, judgment, just, write a list down. What are the things that I like to do when I was younger? Like, what are the things I like to do now? Whether it be being out in nature or growing my own food or learning how to grow something indoors, or, like, there's certain things on my checklist, my to-do list that I'd like to do, or experience. And I think just taking a moment to be with yourself, to write it down, as we talked about Mercury and Capricorn, just writing it down, the wish list. I have all the money, time, and resources in the world, let the judgment fall away, but yet what is it that you really want to experience? And just kind of tap into that from a heart space to take those steps, and to obviously to manifest, because it's almost as you're thinking it, you're visualizing yourself doing it. So you're creating it. So it's very, it's just you're using that heart energy, that expressive, creative energy that to create the reality you want to experience. So that's, and especially since it's winter time, it's time to kind of go in anyway. So we're also using the energy of the season. The solstice is coming up. The solstice has been coming in already, that energy. So it's that balance of, and also being the shortest day of sunlight, or the longest day, depending on where you are. But it's just using the time you have and just making a little putting time towards yourself. So making that as a habit, whether even if it's like 3 things I want to do. And by the way, too, on the other side of that list, make sure you write down 3 things you're grateful for, because you already have it. So creating that gratitude practice is just a reminder that you already have everything you need anyway. And now you just want to expand on that, because a lot of what we're doing, especially, all right, in my example, if I'm singing, I don't know, someone may even like my voice, I like it, but as we listen to music, we hear the beauty of someone else's voice or playing an instrument, and we're just moved, and it just fills us with this feeling and emotion. So the impact that it has on you, whatever taste you have. But I think that is, something that we kind of lose sight of, like where it's a win-win-win for everybody. You enjoy what you're doing, and then you're sharing it with someone who also enjoys what you're doing. So, and I guess that comes back down to the passion of being who you are, as we talked about the North Node in Aries, right? And just, what do we come to learn? We're here to really come to be ourselves, really. So
our authentic, unique signature expression, our own tone.
yeah.
And I like too the idea with especially Saturn and Pisces of making it a routine of doing this, of really making it a structured what you do every day, even if at first it feels uncomfortable. Because right now, as a collective, we're all stepping into these unknown spaces. We've never been here before. This is a very brand new, especially with Pluto getting ready to go into Aquarius, right? Which we've never seen. None of our collective has seen. It takes 240 years cycle. So this is the first time that we're actually going to be tapping into the energies of Pluto and Aquarius, which is about the liberator. It's about being unique. It's about, it's air. So it's communication. It is the wind, right? Our own windpipes. It's like vibrating in our own unique signature way and making it the practice, Pluto, because that's where our power, that's where our ability to transform maybe past, present, and future lives. That's where it's connected to, is that it's that internal combustion point where we say, okay, this is done. We've already done that, been there, done that. Capricorn, we've grounded it in, we've looked at it, our governing systems is things need to change. And so what are we changing into? Well, it's going to be what we speak about, what we tone about, what we hum about, what we share through our hearts, right? Because our heart, it's all connected. It's all connected. And so the more we can step into that space consistently, Saturn, and with our spiritual practice, Pisces, right? Because we're all realizing, wow, we're all part of this one energy source field energy. We're not separate from anything. We're not separate from the stone, from the crystal, from the plant, from each other. Like, we're all connected on some level. And I think that's a really important consideration as you're moving through the month of December and beyond, as we're moving into 2024. And again, check out Livzenastrology podcast for more of these energy updates as we're navigating these spaces together, because there's going to be giant configurations happening. We're going to have this giant conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus happening in April, and we'll talk more about that, about what it's like, because we know Jupiter's the planet of expansion, Uranus is the planet of change, unexpected change, big change, societal change. And so what's that going to appear like? Well, it's the actions we take now. It's the steps we do in the now time moment that's going to influence what that looks like. So I would encourage everybody, if you're starting to work with past lives, if you are having these aha awareness moments of past life experiences, and because I feel like the veil is very thin during this time, especially, and I don't know about you if you work with the Ophiuchus energy in the 13th constellation, but this is the time right now. We're in this Ophiuchus window between now and December 17th, where it's the alchemist. We're alchemizing these lives, past, present, and future, and bringing it into now. And it's based on what we vibrate to, what our frequency is about. So it's our responsibility really to manage our vibration, manage your frequency. You know, if you're thinking a negative thought, maybe tone it out, sing, hum, dance, watch what children do, right? Be like the heart of the child, because they know they have this innate sense of how to move the energy, just like animals in nature. That's our natural state before we learn these programs of conformity. And what's dropping away with Pluto and Capricorn, the last degrees, right? We're that 29-degree anaretic point where things we're starting to see like, wow, this is what's falling away. These are the structures, the forms of thoughts in our bodies, these things that need to go and that are transforming out. So is there anything that you would like to leave us with? Any words of wisdom or insight as we are continuing to navigate through the end of this year, or through the end of December?
Oh, let's see. I would just offer, the word that's coming in right now is compassion. Compassion for yourself, and compassion for the other. As we are realizing, yes, we are all connected. We are all the same. And I think that is something that where compassion comes in, to realize that, yes, I have a past life, and Carmela has her past life, and anyone else who's watching, you have your past lives. We're all going through this at the same time. And to have the awareness of that for yourself, the awareness of others, because it is a lot of change, right? It's a lot to maybe wrap your head around and your heart around sometimes, but it's how you look at it. So it's also an exciting time. It's an exciting time of change. And so just to have compassionate change, you know, for us, for yourself, and for others, because I really think it's going to be really awesome, actually, because everything is dropping away. What do we want to create? Like you said, we are creating in this moment, so it's very exciting. So just enjoy it. Just enjoy the ride. And if you need help, just speak up. Someone will be there. Ask your spirit guides. Ask your higher self, and it will show up for you. Tune into a like-minded soul that can kind of help you, because they always show up. Just think that's how powerful we are. So always remember to be a compassionate creator. I guess that's what's coming in right now.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for taking your time and energy and space and connecting in this way and sharing your voice live. And for anybody that's connected to the channel, you know, Livzenastrology comes from radical oneness consciousness. We are one. We all is self. There's nothing outside of us that is not us. And that's where really the content comes from. So if you connect to either of these channels, check out Lissa Finelli at HeartShine Healing. She has a website. I'll post her information at the bottom of the page. You can connect to her. Again, she's a fantastic sound bowl healer. She does crystal grids. She's an astrologer. She is a massage therapist. She has so many gifts to offer. And again, thank you so much for connecting to the channel. We are so grateful for this now time moment, and, you know, compassionate connections. Compassion is the key right now as we're navigating all these lives, past, present, future, wherever you find yourself in this now moment. You know, put your hand on your heart and just show yourself love as much as you can, and just, you know, manage that vibration, that frequency as much as you can through love, through practicing love. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining the channel. Okay. Much love to you.
Thank you, Carmela. Thanks so much for everything happening.
Thank you.
I loved it.
All right, bye, everybody.